Hi, Meg here from I Teach Stamping, and today's card was inspired by this. I've got leftover supplies all over my stamp room, and I am determined to use them up. So this is one of the doilies, and this is from the Flirtacious Designer Series paper, and obviously I still have a fourth of the doily left over, but that's perfect. Like I said, this is what inspired me for my card today. So before I lose this, since it was the inspiration, let me go ahead and get this layered. So I'm going to be taking the 2.5-inch circle punch, and I'm using a scrap piece of basic black cardstock. This is a perfect time to use up any extra supplies that you have. I'm just going to punch out part of that circle. Then I love to use the liquid glue for these doilies. And one side is going to have the peach parfait, and then the other side is going to be white. I just want the white side to show for this card. So I'm just going to layer this on to that basic black circle. And then we're going to have some extra black along the edges. So just take your paper snips and just trim. I'm just going to leave a little hint of a basic black border on the two sides. Alright, so now we can set that aside and put the lid on our glue. And now let's do our stamping. So I'm going to be using from the Perfectly Penned stamp set, the Thank You. And I have a piece of Very Vanilla that's going to be 3 inches. And I went ahead and used the new Edgelits from Stampin' Up! To do the bottom of it. When it's finished, you want it to be about 1.5 inches from top to bottom of the scallop. So like I said, I'm going to use that Thank You from the Perfectly Penned, and I'm going to use my Stamp-A-Majig. Put my little T in place, and the ink I'm using is Perfect Plum, and stamp that. That's going to get layered onto a piece of basic black that I also did the edgelet on ahead of time, and just get that centered like so. Now, in my bin of supplies to use up, I had this right here. So this is the first edition Designer Series paper, and the first edition size of it is going to be 5.25 by 4 inches. And I already had it layered onto a piece of black, basic black, that's going to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I figured, well, in my quest to use things up, now is the perfect time to use this. So I also have a ribbon bin. This is any leftover ribbon I have from projects I was working on. And so I just kind of tuck it in here whenever it's not on the spool anymore. So I'm going to use the basic black wide striped grosgrain that's in there, and you can even see where I tied it at some point in time. And I just want a piece that I can trim out and put running down the front of my card. So I can go back in my ribbon bucket. I'm going to take this one edge and cut up to the middle, and that's going to give me that great symmetrical pennant. So all I need to do is start building out the front of my card. So I took a piece of Perfect Plum that was going to be 1.5 inches by 4.5 inches, and I ran it through the Big Shot using the Vintage Wallpaper embossing folder. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this on the front of my card. And this is really going to center from left to right and from top to bottom. And you've got the great print to help you line up your Perfect Plum. So now on to this ribbon right here. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, first we gotta do this piece. Now I was forgetting something. So I'm gonna put this on about center of the card, a little bit left of center. Bring that up. Now we're ready for our ribbon. So I'm just gonna put a little swipe of snail right there. And wrap this around to the back side. So just pay attention to how long you want your ribbon to hang down. And then I'll just throw in some snail right there to tack it into place. Next, I'm going to grab some dimensionals for my Thank You. Peel off the back of these. And put this in place on our card. So now we're going to work on this section right here. So I'm going to take some scratch pieces of Perfect Plum and the Boho Blossoms punch, and I want the big flower and the medium size flower, and then I want another one of the big flowers, and then I want my water bottle, but not because I'm thirsty. What I like to do with these flowers is put them all in my hand and just spray them with some water. And then crumple them up. So the only reason I'm spraying them with water is to make it easier to crumple. Then once you have them all crumpled up, then I'm just going to open them all back out and set them to the side and let them dry. And while they are drying, I can go ahead and put this onto the base of my card. So the base of the card is going to be very vanilla, 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it at 4.25. Use my bone folder to get a nice crisp edge going. Some snail. And put this right on top. I love purple and black together. I think it's just a beautiful combination. Now we're going to select whatever brad we want. So I'm using the antique brads because they're just perfect for a vintage card. And I'm going to bring in the sponge part from my matte pack and my 3 little flowers. My paper piercer. I'm going to layer all my flowers on top of each other and poke a hole down through the center. It does work better if they are completely dry before you do this. Make a decent size hole because the prongs on these brads are a little bit big. Open up the prongs on the back side, and then I'm just going to fluff up that flower. And we have our perfect little vintage looking flower. Alright, so now we just need to put it in place. Before we do that, we're going to grab some sticky strip and my sticky strip scissors and cut a piece about 1 inch long of sticky strip. You don't need much at all. Get that into place right across the corner of our words and peel off the red part. I'm going to take about a 2-inch strip of the Victoria lace ribbon and do some ribbon scrunching. And then we're going to add a dimensional on the back side of our flower. And just plop it right down on the front there. And so then we have our very elegant thank you card. Now, of course, we still have to do the inside. For the inside, I've got a piece of very vanilla. It's going to be 5.25 inches, and it started at 4 inches. And then I used the same edgelet across the bottom, and I'm going to layer it onto a piece of basic black that's going to be 5 3/8 inches wide. And it started at 4.25 before I ran that edgelet across that bottom edge. Just going to add some snail. But that way we've got that cute little border carrying over from the front of the card to the inside of the card. So I hope you enjoyed today's video tutorial showing you how you can use up extra pieces that you might have floating around your stamp room like I did. And this card looks very simple compared to most of the cards that I teach in the I Teach Stamping VIP program. To learn more about that program, visit www.iteachstamping.com. And remember, I don't just sell rubber stamps, I teach you how to use them. Have a great day.